Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming here this evening. It is certainly testimony to India's great spiritual culture that even in the darkness of this Kali Yuga, people are still interested about how to see God. This indeed should be the very purpose of our life. We go through many births, but only in the human birth can we even begin to think about God. The animals, just like humans, eat, sleep, mate and defend, but they have no means to even think about who is God. Only humans can think like this. Ahar nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhya naranam dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesham dharmena hina pashubhya naranam. I'm going to give the translation. So dharma is the special prerogative of human life, and dharma ultimately means to know and serve God. Savai pungsang paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaitukya pratihataya yatmasu prasidati. Translation. So the highest dharma is to serve God. The word given, or the name given for God in the verse that I just quoted is adhokshaja. There are many names for God, of which 1,000 are very famous. They come in the Vishnu Sahasranama. So one of the names in Vishnu Sahasranama is this name, Adhokshaja. It's not one of the very best known names. There are many names which are better known. Yatha, such as Krishna, Narayana, Vishnu, Ananta, Govinda, Gopinath, Gopal, Madhusudan, Yashodanandana, Mukunda, Madhava, ityadi. So Adhokshaja is not a very well-known name, but it is a very important name, because it means he who is above the range of our sensual perception. Adrishyamana. Do you say that in Tamil? Adrishyamana? It's a Sanskrit term. Also. Not to be seen. Then if he's not to be seen, then where is the question of seeing him? How to see God? Yeah. The other, or another translation of this is that he is transcendent. He is beyond the normal range of sense perception. Kunti Devi, we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam her beautiful prayers to Krishna. She says, Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishvarang Prakrite Param Alakshang Sarvabhutanam Anta Bahiravastitam. Do you know this? Can you give the translation? It said that she offers her respects to the original person who is the supreme controller and who is above the material energy. He is not visible to all the living beings, even though he is present inside and outside of everything. So here comes a question. If we ask, where is God? Everyone will say God is everywhere. God is within everything. Everything is within Him. So then, if God is everywhere, why can't we see Him? And many people ask us, can you show me God? And atheists will say, well, if there is God, then why can't you show him to us? We may also say to a scientist, can you show me electrons? You've all heard of electrons. In the chemistry class, we learn about electrons. Electrons are everywhere.
The chemistry என்ற இந்த விஞ்ஞான வகுப்புல நம்ம இந்த electrons என்ற அணுக்களை பத்தி கேட்டிருப்போம்.
Everyone agrees? Anyone disagrees? Okay, we all accept electrons are everywhere. Has anyone ever seen an electron? Then why do we accept that their electrons exist? Even the scientists haven't seen, but they accept the existence of electrons on circumstantial evidence. So, in our position, we may accept the existence of God on circumstantial evidence. That God must exist. There must be an ultimate principle underlying everything. Actually, the real pramana, the best evidence is Shastra pramana. But in these days of doubtfulness and skepticism, people don't accept Shastra pramana as they should do. Shastra teaches us that we can see God, but it might not be immediate. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavang mang prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births of searching for God, someone may come to understand who God is. That is Krishna, Vasudeva. Vasudeva means who exists everywhere, and also means the son of Vasudeva. So this is something very difficult for us to understand. How can he who exists everywhere also be a particular person? So Samahatma Sudurlabha. It's very difficult to find anyone who can understand this. It's difficult to find anyone who can understand this because there's a qualification required to see God. Now, there's also a qualification to understand the existence of electrons, just to give a mundane example. We all believe in the existence of electrons. Does anyone here know the scientific proof for the existence of electrons? We probably all learned it in chemistry class, but like everything else, we forgot it. Everything else that we learned at school, we forgot it. Well, basically, we accept it on faith that scientists say so they're probably right. But there is a process to understand. If I challenge a scientist that, you say electrons exist, show me. I don't believe in electrons. The scientist will say, yes, I can explain to you, but you have to be ready to listen and you have to understand the methodology. So in the matter of understanding and seeing God, in the beginning we have to have some faith that it is possible to do so. If we go in the science class, if the child goes in the science class at school and the teacher says that today we're going to teach you about electrons, and the child says, what electrons? I don't believe there's anything such thing as electrons. You're just bluffing. Then how can the teacher teach anything? If from the beginning we're not willing to accept that there could be such a thing, and if at every step we challenge the teacher, then we cannot learn anything. So it's similarly in understanding Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. This phrase comes in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly in understanding the science of God. There are plenty of seats up here, by the way, here at the front. Now, we may accept that, well, electrons exist, the scientists say so, the scientists seem to know what they're talking about. But we might be doubtful that, well, do the religionists know what they're talking about? There are so many different religions and they seem to be fighting with each other. One religion says, no, God is like this. And another religion says, no, God is like this. And another religion says, no, God is like this. So it may appear that none of them know what they're talking about, and maybe there's no such thing as God at all. Just like the 5 blind children have 5 different opinions as to what an elephant is. So if they hadn't met their teacher who had clarified the point, and they walked off, and someone met them and said, well, what are you doing? All you blind children are arguing among yourselves. And they said, yeah, well, we all touched an elephant. And the person who is asking them, he's also never seen an elephant. So the person asked them, elephant, what's that? Yani, what is that? And one of them says, well, an elephant is just like a snake. Another one says, no, an elephant is just like a wall. Another one says, no, an elephant's just like a pillar. And the other one says, these people, they're just talking all rubbish. The elephant, it's just like a hand fan. And someone else says, don't listen to them. I know. I personally got caught hold of the elephant, and it's just like a thick rope. And the person listening to them says, these people, they're just a bunch of nutcases. They're all arguing, and they all have different opinions over what an elephant is like. But actually there's no such thing as an elephant, otherwise why would people have different opinions? So in the same way, some people conclude that because different people say different things about God, therefore no one really knows anything. And the very fact that they're all arguing with each other means that there can't really be any God at all. However, because people are confused about something doesn't mean that that entity does not exist. Even though we are very tiny little beings with very limited intelligence, with the very limited intelligence we have, we can understand that underlying this whole cosmic manifestation, there must be some reason, there must be some purpose. We are all living beings. We all live our life with purpose. Most of us don't have a very elevated purpose, but we try to get food and clothing and shelter for our families. We have purpose in all our activities. So the very existence of the universe, which scientists study is going on in a very ordered manner, suggests or points to the fact that there is a supreme being who orders everything. In other words, God. Then why can't we see God? Well, why can't we see electrons? And seeing God, it's not just a matter of learning. When we learn about electrons, we can understand how electrons exist. So we may think, well, if I read Bhagavad Gita or some scripture, then I can learn how God exists. But further qualification is also needed, because God means the supreme pure. Pure means no kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mada, matsarya, no material desire, no material anger, no greed, no illusion, no envy, no pride. Or in short, God has no material desire, no material motive. Now some philosophers conclude that, well, obviously God is pure, He doesn't have any material motive. Therefore, He's not a person as such. And we can't see God because God is simply an all-pervasive existence. So this is where we have to accept knowledge from Shastra. First of all, to understand God, we ourselves have to be pure like Him. If we have material desires, then we cannot understand God, let alone, much less see Him. Knowledge of God is given in Shastra, scripture. But to understand Shastra is not simply a matter of learning Sanskrit. One has to be pure in heart also, and one has to be guided by a competent teacher. Just like the boys, when they were told by the teacher what is an elephant, then they could understand. So to see God, we have to be trained how to do so. We have to be trained how to live a pure life so that we can begin to appreciate God. This is stated by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshanaha. Now we're discussing about seeing God. This verse says that we should approach someone who is in knowledge, who is tattva darshi, who has seen the ultimate principle. Those who see can guide those of us who cannot see. We are enjoined to see through the eye of Shastra. Shastra is the knowledge given by God to help us to understand Him. Otherwise, if we try to understand through our senses, which are inhibited by Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, then we cannot see God. So it is a very great endeavor which we should take up in this human form of life. To see God, we have to be very sincere. We have to be fixed on this undertaking. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka hiyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. We have to have one-pointed fixation. For instance, if we like to see what's on television, then we're not going to see God. We might not be surprised if we go to a cave in the Himalayas searching out a yogi, and we find the yogi in the cave with his TV watching the test match. Say, the yogi, we call in the cave, is the yogi there? Yeah, don't disturb me. We think, don't disturb me, he's in meditation. Don't disturb him, he's watching the test match. Actually, traveling around India, we go to many ashrams, and we find practically every ashram there's a TV. That means no spiritual life. To find God, we have to be so eager that we have no other interest. The great example is Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted to find, where is Vishnu? Where is Vishnu? His mother said, well, I'm not really sure. But the yogis, they go to the forest to try to see him, so I suppose he must be in the forest. So Dhruva Maharaj, he went to the forest of Mahavan, Vrindavan, and his guru Narad came to him, and Narada gave him a process of severe meditation and austerity, so that within 6 months he was completely fixed in meditation on Vishnu. And he had stopped eating, sleeping, drinking, and even breathing. And then Vishnu showed himself to Dhruva. So this kind of determination is required in yoga if we are to see God. Anyone who wants to sign up for this yoga process, they can see us afterwards. And you can learn how to, we'll immediately put you on a course so that you stop eating, sleeping, drinking and breathing. And we might find it very difficult because the mosquitoes will be biting us as we're meditating. Even if you can give up breathing, still your meditation will be disturbed by the mosquitoes. So let's be realistic. In Kali Yuga, we can't do this kind of severe austerity. Fortunately, Bhagavan has come in this Kali Yuga as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's given us a process in which even in this condemned Kali Yuga, we can easily see God. Actually, we have to see God through our ears. That might sound very strange, but the Bhagavatam states, Shutekshitapata, the path of seeing by hearing. In other words, on the path of seeing God, we have first of all have to hear about Him. And actually that's true about any abstract or complex subject. Just like if we are to understand about electrons, we have to hear from the professor. So if we are to understand God and see God, first we have to hear about Him. When Krishna, who is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was present here in this sacred land of Bharata 5,000 years ago, so many people saw Him, but not everyone recognized this is God. Only the devotees who had knowledge of Him and love for Him could understand that this is Bhagavan. So even if we were to see God directly in front of Him, we would not recognize Him unless we had acquired the requisite qualification. So in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us a shortcut, a very easy qualification. That we should hear the message of Godhead through Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And we should chant the names of God and hear that through our ears. There are many names of God. I mentioned a few of them at the beginning of this talk. All the names are included in the Maha Mantra which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially emphasized. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, we may think, it's just a sound. But this is not a normal sound. This sound is transcendental sound. It is the sound of the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the actual effect of chanting these names with faith is that one advances on the path of seeing God. Now, one essential point on the path of seeing God, which is taught by the great acharyas, is that if we want to see God, we should stop wanting to see God. And we should think how to serve God. Duryodhana, he wanted to see God, he wanted to see Krishna, but his motive was not to serve Krishna. Whereas the Pandavas, because their motive was to serve Krishna and love Krishna, so Krishna was always with them. So naturally the devotee wants to see Krishna out of love. But love means service. We should want to serve God. So instead of thinking, let me see God for my own pleasure, we should think, let me serve Him for His pleasure. And if we do so, He will naturally be pleased to show Himself to us. But a devotee does not demand, God, come and show yourself to me. Rather, he is the very humble servant of Krishna. And he knows that Krishna, although he's so powerful, he's so mighty, he's also so kind that Krishna is satisfied with even a little service if rendered sincerely by his devotee. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam, you can say.
और சொல்றார் பத்ரம் புஷ்பம் பலம் தோயம் யோமே பக்தியா பிரயச்சதி ததஹம் பக்தி உபர்தம் அஷ்னாமி பிரயதாத்மனா.
This is the beauty of Krishna Bhakti. That even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is the proprietor of countless Brahmandas, universes. But even if some small, insignificant devotee offers Him some small, insignificant leaf, flower, or fruit or water, if it's offered with genuine love, Krishna will very happily accept it. And actually, in this world, we are all insignificant. In this hall, I'm sitting on a big seat above all of you. So it might seem that I'm very important. Or in the state of Tamil Nadu, relatively speaking, the chief minister is very important. And in the country of India, the prime minister is very important. But in comparison with Bhagavan, we are all very, very, very small and insignificant. And it is Krishna's great kindness that He accepts even a small offering from His very small servant if it's offered with love. So we can see God if He agrees to show Himself to us. Krishna is Prema Purushottam. He is the Supreme Lord of Prem, of pure love. So if we have pure love for Him, He'll be very happy to see us. And if we don't have love for him, then even if we are the Prime Minister or we're the richest person in the world, he won't be interested. Pure love of Krishna means that we have to be free from all material desire. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to be a sannyasi. We can be a householder also. But our heart has to be full of love for Krishna, free of material desire. How we can attain that stage is also given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simply by chanting this Maha Mantra and following the process of Bhakti Yoga, we can be free from all material desires and our heart will be full of pure love for Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you're all very pious people. You're all eager to know who is God and to come closer to God. You should all take up this Krishna consciousness very seriously. You should all chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on beads every day. You should all read Srila Prabhupada's books and practice Krishna consciousness with utmost seriousness. You should all stop all stupid activities like watching television. You should all utilize your rare human form of life to take advantage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. You should all serve Bhagavan Krishna as the focus of your life. Then you will not be born again in this world. Then you will go to the spiritual world, to the world of Krishna. And there you will see God, Krishna, not just once, but all the time, eternally. Thank you very much. Ramanandri, Hare Krishna. Is there any question, please? We have if anyone has a question, they can ask. Show the mic. You have a question already. Someone gave it? No. What's that? Some announcement? About moving a car or something? Oh, okay. All right. Before the questions. Just a second. 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute. Hare Krishna.
We have heard from Thiruvalluvar, who was a poet, that God is Paramatma and Jivatma, both are different. And also we have heard that God will not take a human form. But we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, it looks apparently that he is born from a mother's womb. So how do we understand?
You want to say it again? I think everyone didn't hear it in Tamil. Who says that God is not in a human-like form? The human form is a facsimile of the original form of the personality of Godhead, who comes to this world and lives among us to help to uplift us. It is a great mystery how he who is unborn appears to be born. This mystery is alluded to in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. For instance, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ajopi sanavyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritang swam adhishtaya sambhavami atmamaya. Krishna says, I am Aja, I am unborn, and my transcendental form always remains, it never deteriorates. And I am the controller of all living beings. But nevertheless, I appear within the material energy by my own desire, by my own mercy. Elsewhere in Bhagavatam it is stated, Etad ishanam ishasya prakriti sthopi tadgunai na yujyate sadatmasthaihi. That the very nature of Bhagavan, which makes him Bhagavan, which shows that he is Bhagavan, is that even though he appears within this material energy, he is not touched by it. He remains aloof from it. He remains situated in his own transcendental existence. So we understand that the unborn, even though he's unborn, he appears to take a father and a mother. This is called his lila, because he wants to enjoy the relation of a loving relationship with a father and mother. Krishna enjoys, he likes it when we offer him a leaf, flower, fruit and water. And though he's the maintainer of everyone and everyone is dependent on him, he likes to take the role of being dependent upon a father and mother and accepting their love as they feed him. So this is a transcendental mystery which can be understood by the devotees of Krishna. Devotee means who has love for Krishna. Krishna acts out of love. Those who have love can understand it. Those who do not will never be able to understand it. Yeah, any other question? Could everyone hear that?
There are many innocent people. They are being
Many what?
Many innocent people.
Many
Innocent.
Innocent people.
They are being killed by the terrorists. And we can see in the Mahabharata, Draupadi was in distress. Krishna protected her. But we see the God is not doing anything. So how to understand this?
Could everyone hear the question in Tamil? Who is innocent in this world? Why are we in this world? We are in this world due to illicit desires. Ichchadvesha samuttena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sangmoham sargayanti parantava. If people are being slaughtered mercilessly by terrorists in this life, it is because they have slaughtered mercilessly previously in another life. Every day in this world, millions of what we might call innocent creatures are slaughtered mercilessly. Cows, goats, sheep, chickens, fish, they are needlessly and mercilessly slaughtered. The reaction will come. And if you think that the world is very disturbed with terrorism at the moment, well, we haven't seen hardly even the beginning of it yet. Much more severe reactions must come from all the animal slaughter that is going on at every moment all over the world. And these rascal so-called politicians and so-called religious leaders will go to a peace conference and they'll all sit and eat meat together for lunch. The only hope for this world is this chanting of Hare Krishna. That will purify people from sinful reactions. And it will purify their heart so that they will not want to engage in such sinful, cruel activities as slaughtering other human beings or slaughtering animals. You think it's very bad when human beings are slaughtered. Why do you not protest the slaughter of animals? They also feel pain. So how is someone innocent if they condone the killing of animals? This is not innocence. This is rascaldom and hypocrisy, and there must be a reaction for that. Does it not make sense? Can you understand this?
Hare Krishna.
I'm 65 years old. I have seen many people going to temple and then worshipping Lord and then doing spiritual activities. My activities and also others who are going to temple, all these activities seem to be similar. Those who are worshipping God and those who are not worshipping God, all the activities looks to be similar. I do not know what is the difference there.
I can't hear when you say in the mic. Can you say it again, not in the mic? Because there's some echo or something. Say it again.
there are worshippers of God and there are non-worshippers of God. So both of them are suffering. So what is the speciality in worshipping God?
Do you think that just by going to the church or the mosque or the temple and putting your hands together and then all the suffering will go away? You think you can bribe God so cheaply? You have a mountain of material desires in your heart and you bluff God of making a little show of bhakti, and you think that He's obliged to take away all your suffering. All suffering is caused by forgetfulness of Bhagavan, because we want to enjoy ourselves separately from Him. This is the root of all sin. There is a rule that when you go to the temple, you should not just walk in and walk out, but you should sit down for some time. I don't know if that is followed in South India. It's quite common. It's there in South India. What is the reason for that? The idea is that you're supposed to sit down and hear something about God from Shastra. But in the temples today, there's no one to teach anything. So this temple in Salem is being built with great expense and great difficulty, just so that you can come and hear about Krishna and understand who is Krishna and why you should dedicate your life to Krishna. Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadhaman parityajamaikam sharanam vraja aham tvang sava papebhyo moksha yishyami ma shuchaha. When we give our heart, our minds, our bodies, our actions, everything to Krishna, He releases us from all sinful reaction. But as long as we want to enjoy in this material world, then we have to suffer in this material world, because that is the nature of material existence.
Those who are worshippers of God and those who are not worshippers of God, both seems to lead the same life. What is the solution for that? How to understand that?
They may seem to be the same, but they are not the same. A devotee of Krishna eats, sleeps, works, as does other people. But a devotee does everything for Krishna's pleasure, whereas a non-devotee does everything to try to get sense gratification. Devotee is engaged in chanting the holy names. Non-devotees don't do that. It's not exactly the same. Devotee of Krishna likes to hear about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Non-devotees don't do that. There are many devotees of Krishna present here who live at home with their families. Other people who live at home with their families, they live in some residence, they pay the electricity bills, they do something to get some money, their children go to school and so on. But if you speak with them, they will say their life has completely changed after taking to Krishna consciousness. Because their life is dedicated to Krishna. They're no longer pursuing petty goals. You please speak with them. There are so many. You can see they have this, you can find any of them, they have this Vaishnav tilak. You speak with any of them. They will clarify for you. They will all tell you how their life is so much better after taking to Krishna consciousness. We have not bribed them to say this. Could everyone hear the question? Then they can marry devotee girls also. Or they can remain unmarried and spend their whole life just preaching Krishna consciousness. But you need not worry about them. First you worry about yourself. What are you doing in Krishna consciousness?
Krishna Krishna. How to see God? This is the title today. Well trained on a persons. Well trained Swamigal.
Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, so all those sadhus are well trained about God. So they themselves, they share that they have seen God in the dream. They have not seen in person. So, is that the question? So
What's the question? So many people may say so many things. We accept what is given in Shastra and what is given by the great Acharyas. I don't want to hurt your sentiment, but we do not respect this Ramakrishna, so-called Paramahamsa, and Vivekananda as being God-realized persons. Krishna is Gopal, Govinda, the lover and protector of the cows. These people ate beef on occasion, so how can they be God-realized? It is a symptom of Kali Yuga that people accept all the wrong people as, accept wrong teachers as being great. Previously, so many people used to say Ramakrishna is God. Nowadays, so many people say Sai Baba is God. In future, someone else may say someone else is God. But as far as Shastra is concerned, Krishna is God. So according to public opinion, there may be so many different gods, but the real God was always God, is always God, and always will be God, and that is Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Antavattu palang teshang tad bhavat yalpamedasam. Only people of alpamedasa, small intelligence, worship demigods. So this Ramakrishna, apart from eating beef, he used to worship Kali, not Krishna, so he must be of small intelligence. So, and people of even smaller intelligence worship him. If I said this in Calcutta, I might literally be killed. People are sentimental. They don't have spiritual knowledge, shastric knowledge. There are so many TV stations, this Samskar, Asta, these are in Hindi. They go on and on and on and on, hour after hour. Practically no discussion from Shastra. They'll teach you how to make your eyes bright, how to have self-confidence. But none of them, you can watch them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. None of them will give you any clue about who is actually God and how to get out of the cycle of birth and death. This is typical of Kali Yuga. In the name of Dharma, simply cheating. So if you're serious to understand God and how to get free from the cycle of birth and death, don't believe what anyone says, even if they're very popular. You have to accept what is given by Shastra and the accepted acharyas like Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not these beef-eating louts. Do you know this, that this so-called Ramakrishna was eating beef? Because he said, I have to follow all the religions. So for some time he practiced as a Muslim.
But
now I'm being a Muslim, so I have to eat beef. Nowadays even the Hindus can't understand that eating beef is wrong. Kali Yuga is very dark. This Krishna conscious movement is giving Gita, Bhagavatam, original, pure Shastra, not something that someone just made up in a dream. Anyone can say anything I saw in a dream. That is not authoritative. Okay, we'll finish now then.